Chapter 29. Yi Fengyu, Yi Qing Luo's younger brother, the only legitimate son of the Yi family. His treatment in the Yi family was the complete opposite of Yi Qing Luo's. Yi Fengyu inherited the innate talent of the Yi family. His profound jade heart level was considered high and his profound grade was above profound. He could be considered as the pride of the Yi family. After his mother passed away, Yi Tianquang let Yi Fengyu move to an independent courtyard. Although it couldn't be compared to the other young masters and ladies, it was better than Yi Qing Luo. But, Yi Qing Luo's younger brother had always despised her since she was young. But every time Yi Fengyu came back from the academy, he would come to the abandoned courtyard and stay for half a cup of tea. Although he would say some sarcastic words every single time, but Yi Qing Luo could feel this lad's concern towards her from those words. "You also know you are my sister?" Yi Fengyu snorted coldly. Seeing Yi Qing Luo holding onto her injured arm as she moved towards the bedside, his brows creased tightly. He walked over in big strides and went around Yi Qing Luo's injured arm, wrapping his arms around her and bringing her to the bed. He didn't forget to ridicule. "Why didn't you think of waiting for me to come back when you were showing off? Why didn't you think of your younger brother?" Yi Qing Luo was forcibly pressed on the bed. Yi Fengyu pulled the thin quilt over and covered Yi Qing Luo. His eyes were filled with grief and indignation. "Who do you think you are? How dare you break off the engagement with the crown prince? Hurt eldest sister, hurt fourth sister? Don't you know how to use your brain? In the Three Springs sect, if they want to kill you, it's just a matter of moving their fingers." Yi Qing Luo listened silently to his sarcastic words. Her frozen heart actually felt a trace of warmth. Yi Fengyu muttered and noticed that Yi Qing Luo's expression wasn't right. He paused and showed a face of disgust. "I am talking to you, are you done?" Yi Qing Luo squinted her long and narrow eyes, directly interrupting his words. Yi Fengyu's disdainful expression gradually dissipated. He met a pair of sharp and cold eyes, like the eyes of a beast. The surrounding air also seemed to solidify. "Yi Fengyu, you'd better remember that this is the last time you say these words. You are my, Yi Qing Luo's, younger brother. If you use today's attitude towards me again, I will not let you off." The sinister voice sounded as though it came from hell, sinister and cold. Yi Fengyu's aura was instantly overshadowed by Yi Qing Luo. He stared at Yi Qing Luo in a daze, astonished by her earth-shattering transformation. A burst of anger rose from the bottom of his heart. "Yi Qing Luo, you dare to use this?" Before Yi Fengyu could finish his sentence, a slap landed on his face. On that handsome face, there were 5 distinct fingerprints. "This slap is to teach you a lesson." Yi Fengyu covered his face. He couldn't believe that his sister, who had always been weak and incompetent, had actually dared to hit him. Yi Qing Luo cast a sidelong glance at Yi Fengyu and raised her brows, not convinced. Yi Fengyu subconsciously covered his face and shrank back. His cheeks were burning with pain and the slightest movement caused his muscles to be pulled, which made it even more painful. Declaring that Yi Qing Luo's slap earlier was not a dream. "Convinced?" Yi Qing Luo raised her brows and asked with a sneer. Yi Fengyu was still in a daze, dumbfounded. Suddenly seeing Yi Qing Luo raise her hand again, he was so shocked that he covered his face. "Sister. Sister." Yi Qing Luo nodded satisfactorily. That raised hand hooked her finger at Yi Fengyu. "Come here." Yi Fengyu dilly-dallied over. He was clearly intimidated by his elder sister's aura. Chapter 30. For the next period of time, Yi Qing Luo quietly stayed in the abandoned courtyard to recuperate. It was indeed quiet enough. For 10 days, no one else except Yi Fengyu took a step inside. Maybe it was because she had taught Yi Qing Jian and Yi Qing Ling a lesson that day and shocked everyone. Or perhaps Yi Qing Jian and Yi Qing Ling were still recuperating and had no time to seek revenge. The most important reason could be because of Ling Fenghua's pressure in the dark. What Yi Qing Luo did every day was to lie on the bed and use her divine sense to enter the Azure Dew bracelet and refine pills under Old Man Song's guidance. She wanted to use the fastest speed to refine the top-grade marrow cleansing pill. The time in the Azure Dew bracelet was not the same as the outside world, so there was a slight deviation. 1 day in the outside world was 10 days in the Azure Dew bracelet. It also greatly shortened the time needed for Yiqing Luo to refine pills. No wonder old man Song was so sure that she would not need a year and a half to become a master alchemist. Yiqing Luo's soul directly crossed over to another world, so there was no need to talk about her mental power. And the profound jade heart that Dmo Xian gave her was enough to let her release her heart fire to refine pills. Because of this, in just 10 days, Yiqing Luo had already rushed to the level of a master. Although it was only a word's difference from a master alchemist, but to be promoted to a master alchemist, it was simply a difference of 108,000 miles. During this time, Yi Fengyu was completely subdued by Yiqing Luo. He listened to Yiqing Luo's arrangements and after returning from the academy, he reported to the abandoned courtyard. Then, in front of Yiqing Luo, he demonstrated what the master had taught him from beginning to end. If the level of your jade heart can't be upgraded, it will also affect the promotion of profound qi. Your foundation is stable, but without pressure, you will never be able to break through your current barrier. Yiqing Luo was very clear about this feeling. Anything, when it reached a certain realm, would be blocked by a barrier. If this barrier was crossed, then congratulations, you have successfully passed the tribulation, broke through the profound grade, and directly reached the next realm. If you can't, then you will forever be stuck at this level, unable to advance. I have a way to stimulate your potential and transform you again. Of course, this process is not as easy as you think. Yiqing Luo said the ugly words first. If you nod your head now, before you reach my standard, you are not allowed to back out. Yi Fengyu did not flinch and nodded without hesitation. Yiqing Luo then used the modern method of training hermits on him. She searched through the profound phoenix ring and found countless heavy accessories. Although these ornaments were small, the actual weight of these ornaments was more than 5 kilograms. In the middle of the courtyard, Yi Fengyu was already carrying a weight of 100 jin and was currently fighting. With great difficulty, he had just gotten used to the 50 kilograms of weight when he heard an enchanting and sweet voice, "Add another 50. He said it in a carefree and relaxed manner. Hearing that Yiqing Luo wanted him to continue adding more weight, he wiped off the sweat on his forehead and wailed, "Sister, I've really reached my limit." Limit? A person's limit lies in continuous challenges and continuous breakthroughs. Yiqing Luo propped herself up as her slender fingers brushed the hair on her forehead. Soon after, his lips curled up, revealing a bewitching smile. "If you say another word of nonsense, I'll add another 50. Yi Fengyu had a bitter expression on his face. He had no choice but to brace himself and add another 25 jin of weights to his body. Chapter 31. She saw Zi-Ling holding her lame leg with one hand as she limped in. She looked flustered and her steps were messy, as if she was about to fall to the ground with every step. Yiqing Luo's expression was slightly surprised to see Zi-Ling. Since the day she gave Zi-Ling that task, Zi-Ling had not appeared again. She thought that Zi-Ling was afraid of staining her hands with blood and had fled the Three Springs sect. "Miss." Zi-Ling's face was pale and her body was trembling. She rushed to the front of Yiqing Luo and was just about to say something when she saw Yi Fengyu by the side and stopped. "Eighth young master." Yiqing Luo glanced at him and waved her hand. "It's okay, if you have anything to say, just say it." Zi-Ling looked at Yi Fengyu, twisting her fingers as if she was hesitating. But in the end, she couldn't bear the pressure in her heart and her eyes were filled with tears. Her legs suddenly went soft and she knelt in front of Yiqing Luo. "Miss, I killed someone. I killed Aunt Zhang." Zi-Ling was only 13 or 14 years old and it was her first time killing someone. She couldn't help but feel helpless. Yiqing Luo was even more surprised. She narrowed her long and narrow eyes and stared at Zi-Ling with a deeper meaning in her eyes. It seemed that Zi-Ling was really loyal to her. In order to stay by her side, she suppressed her fear and killed someone. She lacked people around her that she could trust. If she cultivated Zi-Ling well, she would definitely be a powerful helper in the future. Very good. Yiqing Luo curved her lips and slowly bent down to Ziling and reached out to her. Ziling, you did very well. Congratulations on passing my test. Her fair, jade-like hands were almost transparent under the sunlight. It dazzled in Ziling's eyes and she couldn't stop the tears from rolling down her cheeks. Ziling, in this world, if you want to survive, you must kill all those who will threaten your life. Before that, you must make yourself stronger. Yiqing Luo looked at Ziling who was kneeling on the ground. You want to stay by my side, Aunt Zhang is just the beginning. Ziling trembled and shivered. Miss, did he mean that he would make her kill more people in the future? Think about it carefully. Yiqing Luo's hands hung in front of Ziling's eyes, curled her index finger and hooked it. Ziling stared blankly at Yiqing Luo, her eyes reddened and her tears stopped flowing. After a long while, Ziling trembled and placed her hand into Yiqing Luo's palm. Ling Er's life was saved by Miss, and Ling Er has always remembered it. Ling belongs to you for the rest of her life. With Yiqing Luo's strength, Ziling stood up. Miss is right. If Aunt Zhang doesn't die, we will. I want to protect Mississippi. I want Miss to live. This was a strange world where the strong preyed on the weak. In the past, they had endured it countless times, yet they had suffered humiliation and almost lost their lives. If they kept retreating, it would only make the other party more arrogant and take over everything they had. Yiqing Luo tightened her grip as her eyes shot out an arrogant radiance. You must remember, repaying evil with good is our principle, but seeking revenge for the smallest grievance is our way of life. She, Yiqing Luo, would eventually stand at the peak of the strong. She would trample on those who had looked down on her and bullied her. Ziling and Yifeng were shocked. At this time, they had thoroughly and truly felt the changes in Yiqing Luo. Chapter 32. The next morning, Yiqing Luo got up and called Yifeng over to the medicine shop to purchase some medicinal herbs. The herbs in the profound phoenix ring were all of the best quality. She wanted to refine a low-grade elixir, so using these herbs was a waste of resources. After watching Yifeng train these past few days, he still had no way of breaking through the level of his profound jade heart. She felt that it was better to first borrow the elixir to help Yifeng break through to the next level, and then slowly stabilize his profound qi. Moreover, since Ziling was determined to follow her, she must cure Ziling's leg. She had robbed all the money from Yifeng. Who would have thought that the lad had secretly hoarded nearly 20 gold coins without saying a word? 20 gold coins was equivalent to 200 silver coins. It was enough for her to buy enough medicinal herbs. Yifeng's heart ached as he put on a bitter face and brought Yiqing Luo to the biggest medicine shop in Three Springs City, Pristine Elixir Medicine Shop. The moment Yiqing Luo entered, a shopkeeper greeted her. Isn't this young matriarch and 8th young master? Come, please come in. Yiqing Luo was stunned by the shopkeeper's enthusiasm. One must know that wherever she went in the past, people would chase her away. Who would care about her identity as the young sect master? Half a month ago, you beat up eldest sister and fourth sister at the entrance of the Three Springs sect, and even annulled the crown prince's marriage in public. Who would dare to treat you as a waste now? Yifeng whispered into Yiqing Luo's ear. No wonder so many people were pointing at her and gossiping along the way. Under the enthusiastic guidance of the shopkeeper, Yiqing Luo and Yifeng walked into the medicine shop. There were many people in the medicine shop, and there were many people wearing alchemist clothes coming and going. Looking at the medals on their chests, one could tell the rank of each alchemist. Most of the people who received and introduced the medicinal herbs were at the level of an apprentice. Yiqing Luo was just about to list out the list of medicinal herbs when she saw a group of people swaggering in. There were 6 of them. A person stood in front of him, exuding a ruffian aura. The 5 of them followed behind aggressively. Get out of the way, get out of the way. Shopkeeper, where is our young master's medicine? A fierce-looking attendant stepped forward and slammed his palm on the counter. The surrounding commoners were so shocked that they all fled from the medicine shop. Yo ho! Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. He was an acquaintance. Yi Qing Luo's brows rose as she swept a glance at that man who was filled with a ruffian aura. Noticing her gaze, he looked over. Instantly, his expression changed greatly, and his eyes became ruthless. Elder sister, it's the Yuqi family's fourth young master. Why is he looking at you with such a strange expression? Yi Fengyu also noticed it as he took a step forward and blocked Yi Qing Luo's way. It was just a casual action, but it showed how much he cared about Yi Qing Luo. Yi Qing Luo's eyes were filled with smiles, revealing some warmth. It's alright, just watch. This Yuqi fourth young master has a reputation of being a playboy and his character is corrupt. It's best if we don't get involved with him. Yuqi said as he pulled Yi Qing Luo's hand, wanting to leave. Yi Qing Luo burst into laughter. Right now, she was afraid that it wasn't up to her whether she was willing or not to be involved with Yuqi. But Yuqi wouldn't easily let go of this opportunity. Sure enough, a servant came over and shouted fiercely, "Seventh miss of the night, my young master invites you." Yi Fengyu immediately shoved Yi Qing Luo behind him, his eyes suddenly filled with a gloomy chill. Get lost. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. That servant's face was flushed red as he raised his fist and ruthlessly struck towards Yi Fengyu. Chapter 33. Yi Fengyu's face darkened. He suddenly lifted his leg and kicked that follower's abdomen. The follower cried out in pain and rolled out while clutching his stomach. Yuqi. For the sake of being a classmate, take your men and get out of here, otherwise. Today we are not finished. Yuqi family was one of the four great families. Yuqi's position was not to be underestimated. Although Three Springs sect's power was getting weaker in recent years, it was still the #1 sect in the Western continent. If he really wanted to meet force with force, Yi Fengyu had nothing to fear. Yuqi watched his follower being kicked away, his eyes filled with ruthlessness. Not finished? This young master wants to see how you will not finish with this young master. Yo, young master Yuqi, haven't you enjoyed the taste of that day? Are you addicted? Yi Qing Luo pushed aside Yi Fengyu who was standing in front of her and leisurely walked forward. Mentioning that day, Yuqi's face, in a split second, became overcast. Yi Qing Luo. You are courting death. Yi Qing Luo sneered, if I am courting death, then you are, courting. That day at Heavenly Fortune Inn, she had fed the 4 men and locked them in a room. Presumably. That day would be unforgettable for Yuqi. Sure enough, mentioning this word, Yuqi's face flushed red, blue veins bulging on his forehead. You guys go. Bring Yi Qing Luo here. He waved his arm and called for the followers behind him to surround Yi Qing Luo. Last time he let Yi Qing Luo go was only because the Overlord was present. He thought this little waste had entered the Overlord's eyes. But now it seemed that the Overlord should only be interested in Yi Qing Luo for a while. Several followers heard the order, immediately pulled out a broadsword from their waist and pounced towards Yi Qing Luo. The common people and the medicine shop's pharmacists screamed and avoided. Little you. Yi Qing Luo sneered and shouted for Yi Fengyu. At the same time, she took a step back. Come at me. Yi Fengyu leaped forward and stood in front of the entourage. Surrounded by 4 strong and fierce-looking men, Yi Fengyu appeared even more petite and exquisite. But Yi Fengyu made a move, not showing any weakness. He reached out and grabbed the chair beside him. Then, he ordered the attendant in front of him to sit down. Then, with a nimble sway of his body, his qi broke out of his body. The 4 followers also released their xian qi. The follower who had been sent flying by Yi Fengyu earlier also joined the battle. Yi Fengyu fought 1 against 5, and the sounds of battle rang out. Yi Qing Luo leaned against the medicine cabinet and narrowed her eyes, sizing up the battle situation in front of her. Yi Fengyu's next move, she had a rough grasp of it. Her little brother's profound heart jade wasn't too bad, and the cultivation conditions Yi Tian Kuang gave him weren't bad either. The only thing he lacked was his comprehension ability. Every move and every style was too standard and standard. Although each and every one of his moves looked ruthless, he was too kind and controlled his strength too much. What about the 5 attendants? Perhaps it was because Uchiha had suffered a loss at the heavenly fortune in last time. The profound ranks of these 5 followers were all too low. The weakest was Yellow Xian's 6th grade, and the strongest was Xian. The Uchi family really felt rather sorry for this 4th young master. In this kind of battle situation, Yi Fengyu was completely at a disadvantage. That Xian level follower also saw Yi Fengyu's weakness, and while the other 4 were entangling with Yi Fengyu, he circled behind him. Yi Fengyu was still fighting with the other 4 and didn't pay attention to his back. Chapter 34. Yiqing Luo's eyes turned scarlet in a split second, full of murderous intent. With a light tap of her toes, she quickly moved into the middle of the fighting crowd. Uchiha had been glaring at Yiqing Luo with hatred. Seeing her move, he immediately followed. Yiqing Luo's figure was strange, quickly moved behind that follower. Just as the follower's palm was about to hit the back of Yi Fengyu's head, his wrist suddenly felt a sharp pain. He saw a slender jade hand, tightly clasping his wrist. That jade hand was white, the skin like cream. The fingers were like green onions, so thin that it seemed to have no strength. But it was this pair of hands that pinched the tendons in his wrist. Just a little bit of force and the tendons in his arm would definitely break. Want to touch my brother? Who gave you the guts? Yiqing Luo smiled enchantingly, 5 fingers clasped. That follower burst into a scream, clutching his wrist, rolling on the ground. Yi Fengyu then realized that someone had sneak attacked him from behind, a little embarrassed to look at Yiqing Luo. Sister, thank you. Yiqing Luo's cold eyes swept over, immediately dragging his body to the side to avoid. Soon after, her leg flew up and kicked the stomach of the sneak attacker. When facing the enemy, the most taboo is to be soft-hearted and absent-minded. On the battlefield, these 2 points are enough to take your life. Yiqing Luo's cold voice was mixed with anger. Yi Fengyu was slightly startled, understanding the meaning of his sister's words. Thinking of the words that Yiqing Luo and Zi Ling said yesterday, he suddenly seemed to understand something. His eyes became firm. I understand. Finishing his words, he once again rushed into the other 3 followers' encirclement. These people were not worthy of his sympathy, nor were they worthy of his soft-heartedness. If he was soft-hearted, the person who would die, not only him, but also his sister. He wanted to protect his sister, so he had to remove all the obstacles that hindered his sister. Yi Fengyu, who rushed into the battle again, was obviously different from before. Every single move was extremely ruthless. Yiqing Luo's vision looked around, remembering that Uchiha also followed closely, but now he was nowhere to be seen. Just as she was thinking about this, her back suddenly turned cold. Good job. Uchiha actually sneaked up behind her. Want to compete with me in speed? Yiqing Luo's sensitive ears twitched as she confirmed Uchiha's position. With a backhand punch, she ruthlessly struck towards her back. That punch landed on thin air. In any case, Uchiha still had some ability. When he sensed that Yiqing Luo had turned around and brandished her fist, he gave up on his attack and rolled on the ground to avoid that punch. Yiqing Luo's body did not have a trace of profound chi fluctuation. But, the example of the follower using blood told her that if she was punched by Yiqing Luo, she would not be able to stand up. After dodging, Uchiha seized the opportunity and formed a seal with both hands, releasing profound energy from the center of his palm. In a split second, the entire medicine shop was shaking. A sharp longsword materialized in Uchiha's hand. Intermingled with fragmented streaks of lightning, a dense chill came from his sword's edge. He raised his long sword high, and with a slash, he released his killing intent, and directly chopped down. This sword wave, compared to the sword wave created by Yiqing Ling, did not know how many times more advanced it was. The momentum was ferocious, and it was mixed with lightning. Yiqing Luo's lips curled up slightly as she welcomed that sword wave without any fear. He took out the folding fan from his sleeve and twirled it around his fingertips. Chapter 35. Just as Yiqing Luo was about to dodge, she felt that powerful qi wave actually bypassed her and smashed next to Yuchiya's feet with a loud bang. It just so happened to block the sword wave that Yuchiya set off. Who is it? Yuchiya's attack didn't land and he roared in uncontrollable rage. Yiqing Luo also looked in the direction of the profound qi attack. She saw a man dressed in white, waving a folding fan as he entered pristine elixir medicine hall, neither too fast nor too slow. His white clothes fluttered, elegant and noble, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. That was an extremely conceited smile. If this smile was on someone else, perhaps it would be a joke. But on him, it felt so smooth and natural. Yiqing Luo narrowed her charming eyes as she pondered whether the other was a friend or foe. Yuchiya already spoke first. Isn't this second young master Mu? I haven't seen you for a few days and you even dare to meddle in this young master's business? Second young master Mu? Yiqing Luo searched for this name in her memory. She actually had a bit of an impression. Second young master Mu Zifei was the second young master of the Mu family, a profound practitioner aristocratic family. The Mu family had an extremely strange custom. For generations, they would only marry one person as a wife. Because of this, the Mu family also only had 2 sons. After all, second young master Mu came from a profound practitioner aristocratic family and was also a rare profound qi genius. Mu Zifei unfolded his folding fan and lightly waved it. Fourth young master Yuchi, you're causing trouble in my pristine elixir medicine hall. How can this be considered as other people's business? If I don't stop you and something really happens, our faces won't be good. This young master's target today is only that little slut. Give her to me and this young master will immediately leave with my people. Yuchiya put away his long sword. Once you enter our pristine elixir medicine hall, you're our customer. If I hand over pristine elixir medicine hall's customer to you today, how will the common people view pristine elixir medicine hall? Mu Zifei raised his fan and waved it. Yuchiya's face suddenly sunk. So you're saying that you want to oppose this young master for that trash? I don't dare oppose you. What I'm doing is only to protect the safety of the medicine hall's customers. If fourth young master Yuchi insists on causing trouble in my pristine elixir medicine hall, then I can only offend you. Finished speaking, Mu Zifei no longer paid attention to Yuchiya. Walking straight towards Yiqing Luo, that handsome face revealed a sincere smile. Seventh miss, I'm really sorry to have startled you. Yiqing Luo nodded indifferently. In his heart, he had some appreciation towards Mu Zifei. I'm pristine elixir medicine hall's second young master, Mu Zifei. In order to make up for my apology, whatever medicinal ingredients you want to buy today, put it all on my tab. Soon after, Mu Zifei called the shopkeeper over and took out a jade pendant from his waist. Bring seventh young miss to the back room to choose medicinal ingredients. The shopkeeper took the jade pendant and respectfully made a please gesture. Seventh miss, please come with me. Yiqing Luo didn't stand on ceremony as she pulled him along and followed the shopkeeper to the back room. Seeing that Yiqing Luo wanted to leave, how would Yuchiya be willing to let her go? He immediately raised his sword high and unleashed his stellar energy. However, Yuchiya had just gathered his profound energy when Mu Zifei, who was still 10 steps away, suddenly appeared in front of him. He fiercely sent out a palm, hacking onto Yuchiya's chest. Yuchiya screamed miserably and fell to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Yiqing Luo's leg, which was just about to step into the back room, suddenly stopped. She looked at Mu Zifei with great interest, incomparably admiring his neat and tidy movements. Chapter 36. Sister, you can't be. Yi Fengyu's expression congealed as he looked at the center of the medicine shop with slight worry. He saw Yuchiya slap the ground with his palm and leap up. His long sword turned and met Mu Zifei head-on. Mu Zifei was unruffled as he withdrew his folding fan into his sleeve. Replacing it was a blood-red longsword. The sword and sword collided and profound qi violently surged out. The sword light was resplendent and the sword qi was awe-inspiring. It carried an extremely strong and majestic qi wave as it exploded with a loud bang. Was this a battle between the strong? Yi Fengyu's heart thumped. Do you feel that you are clearly on par with their profound grades, yet you are unable to display their imposing manner? Yi Qingluo saw through Yi Fengyu's thoughts in one glance. Yi Fengyu stared ahead in a daze. A certain place in his heart was gradually changing. You will also have this kind of imposing manner. Yi Qingluo hooked up a smile and stuffed the medicine list into his palm. Think carefully, when you confronted those 3 attendants at the end, what was in your heart? Only you can understand the disparity between you and them. Yi Fengyu's eyes flashed as he vaguely grasped something. Yi Qingluo pushed Yi Fengyu towards the back room. Don't worry, sister, go ahead. Yi Fengyu picked up the medicine list as he was being pushed and glanced at it. He coughed fiercely. Avoiding the shopkeeper who was leading the way, he lowered his voice and leaned close to Yi Qingluo's ear. Sister, aren't you looting a burning house? That medicine list was filled with a bunch of names of medicinal herbs. Added together, it was at least 10 gold coins. 10 gold coins, 10. 10. Ah. Yi Qingluo disapprovingly raised her eyebrows. She was very calm. Is the Mu family lacking in gold coins? Since second young Master Mu proposed that all the medicinal herbs I bought today are free of charge, I'll take 1 copper coin's worth of medicinal herbs and 10 gold coins as well. What's wrong with that? Yi Fengyu was speechless. In the end, he followed the shopkeeper into the back room with a red face under Yi Qingluo's coercion. When Yi Qingluo returned to the medicine shop's main hall, she discovered that Yu Qiya had already fought his way outside the medicine shop under Mu Zifei's lead. Yi Qingluo raised her eyebrows. She was somewhat interested in this second young Master Mu. They would start fighting at the slightest disagreement, and they would never resort to words to settle things that could be settled with their fists. She admired such a decisive man. Mu Zifei. What's your relationship with that trash? Unexpectedly, for her, you don't hesitate to oppose this young master? Yu Qiya was in an extremely sorry state. In terms of profound rank, he was above Mu Zifei. But in terms of control over profound energy and saber arts, Mu Zifei clearly had the upper hand. The hand gripping the sword was already numb from Mu Zifei's relentless advance and the collision of the sword and saber. It was somewhat unsteady on the sword. I don't know Miss Seven, and I'm not doing this for her. The corner of Mu Zifei's mouth was still that smile that made people unable to be conceited. Anyone who causes trouble in pristine elixir medicine hall is an enemy of my Mu family. Since fourth young master Yuchi doesn't want to save face for both sides, then I don't need to show mercy. So it turns out that fourth young master Yuchi's strength is so weak. Second young master Mu hasn't even used his full strength and is already unable to meet the challenge. A sweet and melodious voice leisurely came over. The tone was full of ridicule. Inside the medicine shop, a woman dressed in red like fire walked out. Dark blood red patterns outlined the outline of an enchanting flower at the hem of her skirt. Her fine black hair scattered over her shoulders. Her slender and thin eyebrows curved. Her bewitching and seductive eyes revealed a somewhat cold flowing light. Chapter 37. Yi Qingluo. Once he saw Yi Qingluo walking over, Yu Qiya's eyes turned scarlet red, filled with hatred. His fingers, which were gripping the long sword tightly, tightened one by one. Seventh young lady, just leave him to me. Mu Zifei smiled as he looked towards Yi Qingluo. After all, fourth young master Yuchi messed up the medicine hall because of me. If I were to stand by the side and watch, it wouldn't be justifiable. Yi Qingluo's lips curled up slightly as she smiled lightly. His demeanor was calm, without the slightest bit of timidity or fear. That pair of enchanting eyes that could bewitch all living things had a radiance that was so dazzling. This isn't an aura that a trash can emit. A brilliant glint flitted across the depths of Mu Zifei's eyes as he recalled the news that had been circulating throughout Three Springs City during this period of time. It seemed that this seventh young lady of the Yi family had really changed. He had a very strong idea. The Three Springs sect would most likely undergo an earth-shaking change. Suddenly, a slender white hand rested on Mu Zifei's shoulder. He was startled when he heard the woman's low voice. That orchid-like fragrance seeped into his nose. Mu Zifei was dazed for a split second. Yuqi family's helpers are here. Yiqing Luo's eyes sunk slightly. Pristine Elixir Medicine Hall doesn't have any hired thugs. As soon as she walked out of the medicine shop, she keenly heard the commoners discussing. The Yuqi family had gathered 20 to 30 people and were rushing over here. He glanced at the attendant lying on the ground in the hall. Sure enough, one had run away. 20 to 30 people, there were probably many experts from the Yuqi family among them. She did not have any Xian Qi, and this body could not display even 1/10 of her skills in her previous life. Joining hands with Mu Zifei to deal with 20 to 30 people, I'm afraid, he was going to die here. Mu Zifei's complexion changed. Pristine Elixir Medicine Hall is opened by the Mu clan. Even if there are disputes, they will still give the Mu clan this face, therefore, Pristine Elixir Medicine Store didn't arrange any thugs at all. Miss Seven, I'll cover you. You should leave now. As long as we return to Three Springs sect, they won't dare to do anything to you. Mu Zifei pulled Yiqing Luo behind him. If I leave, what will you do? In any case, I'm the Mu family's second young master. If the Yuqi family dares to touch me, it's the same as declaring war on the Mu family. Mu Zifei gripped his long saber tightly, his gaze becoming sharp. Leave now. A burst of profound energy burst out from his body. This powerful wave of qi was even more powerful than when Yuqi had tangled with him. His long blade flicked upwards, and profound energy surged madly in the surroundings. A 4-foot-long blade radiance was already directly pressed down towards Yuqi. This saber turned into an astonishing beam of light that pierced through the sky. Yiqing Luo retreated a few steps under that strong airwave. Half squinting her charming eyes, she deeply stared at the man who used his full strength to attack Yuqi. A smile quietly leapt onto the corner of her mouth. He was serious. He really wanted to use himself in exchange for her safety. When had she ever been protected like this? She, Yiqing Luo, was determined to befriend this friend. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of a group of people rapidly approaching from the other end of the street. His gaze gradually turned cold. Here it comes. The Yuqi family's reinforcements. Yiqing Luo estimated with her eyes that there were approximately 23 to 24 people. The two leaders were approximately 30 years old, overbearing and aggressive. Apart from the two leaders' profound levels at Mystic Profound 9th grade, there were still 4 7th grade Profound practitioners. The rest were all at the Yellow Profound realm. This lineup couldn't be considered especially powerful, but to the current her, if she were to meet force with force, she had no chance of victory. Chapter 38. Seeing that help had arrived, Yuqi's panicked expression immediately became arrogant. His morale for battle also became full of confidence. The other side had 2 people while he had 20 people behind him, as well as the Yuqi family's elite guards. Why would he be afraid of a waste and a second young master Mu? Yiqing Luo, Mu Zifei, today this young master will let you see the consequences of messing around with the Tai Sui's head. Yuqi's longsword cut through the air like a streak of azure light, carrying the chill of a sword. In a split second, the entire sky was covered in lightning and thunder, sealing off Yiqing Luo and Mu Zifei from all directions. Yiqing Luo and Mu Zifei looked at each other. When they saw the smile that flashed in the other's eyes, they coincidentally hooked the corners of their lips. A murderous aura floated in Yiqing Luo's eyes, and the folding fan in her sleeve flipped at her fingertips. The tip of her toes touched the ground, and her figure immediately transformed into an afterimage. Mu Zifei's longsword condensed profound qi and slashed down horizontally. With each slash, the earth seemed to shake, red like thunder. He opened a path for Yiqing Luo. When Yuqi's 20 guards saw this, they rushed forward in unison. Profound qi soared to the sky, and the surrounding common people's stalls and tables were all overturned. Items smashed onto the ground and shattered into pieces. At first, when Mu Zifei and Uchiya fought, they didn't harm the common people. These 20 people moved together, and immediately, the entire street was filled with screams and clamor. The folding fan in Yiqing Luo's hand was like a sharp blade, spinning at high speed at her fingertips. Her acuity was extremely high, her speed was extremely fast, and she also possessed the unique footwork she learned in her previous life. Several profound practitioners didn't even have time to make a move when they felt a chill on their necks, and they already fell to the ground. Quick! Stop her! The 9th mystic profound grade middle-aged man shouted sternly. His palm moved and split open the blade chi created by Mu Zifei. Immediately, he pulled out a sharp broadsword from his waist and chopped at Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo's brows raised, and she retreated a few steps with her toes. She dodged to the side and avoided the blade wave. With a boom, the middle-aged man's broadsword chopped out countless blade shadows where she was just standing. The 9th grade of the mystic profound realm could already be ranked amongst the powerhouses of the West Wave continent. Naturally, his reaction was extremely fast. After slashing the air again, he immediately leapt up. The huge sword was incomparably vicious, aiming straight for Yiqing Luo's vital point. Your opponent is me. Suddenly, Mu Zifei, who was surrounded and attacked by more than 10 guards, sent his saber chi flying. He released a big move and broke through the human wall. His white clothes fluttered in the wind, his long hair fluttered in the wind, his long blade crisscrossed, the profound chi released a resplendent blade light, fiercely colliding with the middle-aged man's blade. The two blade auras collided at the same time. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yiqing Luo's footwork was strange, and in just a few steps, she had already passed through the middle-aged man's encirclement. Her goal was to directly take action against Uchiya. There were only 2 of them, so they had to capture the ringleader first. As long as Uchiya was restrained, who among those 20 or so people would still dare to move? This was also the stratagem that she saw in Mu Zifei's eyes when their eyes met. The cooperation between the two was so tacit. It was as if he had practiced this countless times. With just a few glances, he was able to understand the other party's thoughts. Under the protection of those 20 or so people, Uchiya naturally relaxed his vigilance. He simply didn't expect that Yiqing Luo, a trash without the slightest bit of profound chi, would actually approach him under the eyes of 2 9th grade mystic profound grade and 4 4th grade mystic profound grade guards. Suddenly, Uchiya suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. Chapter 39. Uchiya immediately turned his head. Then came face to face with Yiqing Luo's charming eyes. That country-toppling appearance revealed a cold smile, as if ridiculing his cowardice and incompetence. Then he saw Yiqing Luo raise a middle finger towards him. Although Uchiya didn't understand that meaning, from Yiqing Luo's expression, he could see that it was absolutely looking down on him. Very clearly, Yiqing Luo was indeed looking down on him. This was provocation and contempt. Everyone, attack! Uchiya couldn't stand the provocation and immediately pointed at Yiqing Luo in an uncontrollable rage, commanding the surrounding guards, "As long as you capture this little trash alive, this young master will heavily reward you." His subordinates immediately rushed towards Yiqing Luo. Uchiya quickly retreated, vigilantly retreating out of the battle. In his mind, he recalled Yiqing Luo's bloodthirsty provocative smile, and his back involuntarily turned cold. Impossible. There were more than 20 guards in the surroundings, forming a defensive line in front of him. Even if Mu Zifei was there, he could at most block the mystic profound 9th grade middle-aged man. Once he was entangled by the middle-aged man, even if Mu Zifei wanted to free up his hands to help Yiqing Luo, he would probably be powerless. Want to make a move on him under the watchful eyes of everyone? Impossible. Numerous guards surrounded Yiqing Luo, but in the blink of an eye, they had already lost all traces of Yiqing Luo. What kind of sorcery did that witch use? Can a person really disappear into thin air? Protect 4th young master. Protect 4th young master. That mystic profound 9th grade guard who had always been protecting Uchiya at his side sternly berated. He deeply furrowed his brows, his gaze sharply surveying the surroundings. Why, he couldn't feel the slightest profound chi fluctuation from Yiqing Luo's body. But her speed was unexpectedly fast to the point where he couldn't even catch her. The guards uniformly turned back and surrounded Yuchiya's direction. At this time, a powerful blade chi pressed forward. A white silhouette leapt into the crowd, long blade dancing, with a kind of ferocious imposing manner, completely evading the surrounding guards. It was Mu Zifei. He didn't know when he broke away from that middle-aged man's entanglement and rushed towards Yuchiya. Another 9th-rank protector immediately blocked in front of Yuchiya, colliding head-on with Mu Zifei's attack. Yuchiya only took a small step back. Suddenly, a folding fan appeared on his neck. The icy cold air carried with it a sense of fear as if one's life was being taken away. Yuchiya's body instantly went taut. How could he still dare to move even half a step? Yiqing Luo's sweet and bewitching voice rang in his ears, like an azura from hell, incomparably cold. "Fourth young master Yuchi, are you going to stop, or die?" It was obviously just a folding fan, but in Yiqing Luo's hands, Yuchiya seemed to feel that it was a sharp blade, sticking to his neck. A chill ran down his spine, and a chill of fear welled up from the bottom of his heart. How did she avoid the defense of more than 20 people and get close to him in an instant? Her speed was so strange and shocking. You dare to kill me? This young master is Yuchi." Before he finished speaking, that folding fan had already approached Yuchiya's blood vessels. A tingling sensation made Yuchiya suck in a breath of cold air. "Stop. All of you stop for this young master." He repeatedly screamed involuntarily. The surrounding 20 people all stopped what they were doing. The ordinary guards were endlessly dazed. And those several mystic profound and above guards' complexions immediately turned ashen. Chapter 40. Under their eyelids, Yiqing Luo had restrained Yuchiya. This was simply a slap to their faces. With just a turn, Yiqing Luo had already approached. This wasn't just because of the speed. Yiqing Luo didn't have any profound chi, so they couldn't sense her presence from her profound chi fluctuations. But her speed was fast and nimble, it would bring along the wind. The wind would easily expose a person's target. However, Yiqing Luo's approach was completely silent. Without any flaws, she didn't give them any chance to react at all. After Yiqing Luo succeeded, Mu Zifei immediately stopped and returned to Yiqing Luo's side. "Yiqing Luo, let go of my young master." The guard's eyes were sinister as he pointed at Yiqing Luo. "If you dare to touch a single hair on our young master, our Yuchi family will make sure you die without knowing how." Yiqing Luo sneered as her fingers lifted Yuchiya's chin. Blood had already seeped out from a spot on his neck. "You can try and see if this young patriarch dares." Yiqing Luo's lips curled up slightly as her fingers holding the fan moved randomly. With each movement, Yuchiya felt a burst of stinging pain. Like the pain of a blade cutting through his skin. He was so shocked that he repeatedly shouted, his face full of fear. "You, stop. Stop. Yuchi family is really imposing, actually daring to openly despise my Three Springs sect, despise the Mu family." Yiqing Luo actually stopped, her charming eyes staring straight at the guard. Is the Yuchi family preparing to rebel and want to become the #1 family in the Western continent? The guard's expression congealed. Such a big hat would easily arouse the vigilance of the other families towards the Yuchi family. Just as he was about to answer, he saw Yiqing Luo's fan move closer to Yuchiya's neck. That pair of cold and enchanting eyes was warning him. He wanted to explain but didn't dare to open his mouth. If he didn't explain, he was afraid that if someone with ulterior motives heard, this Yuchi family would once again stir up great waves. Brilliant, Yiqing Luo's move was really brilliant. The two middle-aged guards looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. This Yi family's 7th miss seemed to have changed into another person. For a moment, both sides were in a deadlock. Yuchi family's ability has indeed grown, actually daring to cause trouble in my pristine elixir medicine hall. A clear voice came from afar. A man dressed in luxurious blue robes walked over with his hands behind his back. His figure was tall and slender, and his face was handsome and refined. His entire body emitted a scholarly aura. Yiqing Luo followed the direction of the voice. When he met that pair of smiling azure eyes, a surprised expression appeared on his face. Wasn't this the man whom she had borrowed the fan from outside the Three Springs sect? I didn't expect to meet him here. Big brother, why are you here? Suddenly, they heard Mu Zifei shout at the man beside them. The man raised his eyebrows slightly, and a bright smile appeared on his handsome face. If anything happens to you, father and mother will be talking about me. It's not like I can't handle things. Mu Zifei's expression was displeased, but a smile overflowed from between his brows. It could be seen that the two brothers had a very good relationship. As they were talking, the man had already crossed the crowd and stood between Yiqing Luo and the guard. I, Mu Zifan, am the eldest son of the Mu family and also the owner of Pristine Elixir Medicine Hall. If you insist on touching my people in my territory, then, the Mu family will accompany you to the end. Chapter 41. The two middle-aged guards spread open their arms and pushed the 20 guards behind them back a few steps. The Yuchi family doesn't want to become enemies with the Mu family. Our fourth young master's target is only the Yi family's 7th Mississippi. If the two young masters of the Mu family make things convenient and hand over the Yi family's 7th Miss, we will leave immediately. I won't intervene in the grievances between the Yuchi family and the 7th Mississippi. Although Mu Zifan was smiling, there wasn't the slightest hint of a smile between his brows. Big brother. Mu Zifei hurriedly shouted, knitting his brows tightly. How can you not? Mu Zifan raised his hand and stopped him. A pair of cold eyes coldly looked at that guard, but the fourth young master is in my Pristine Elixir Medicine Hall looking for trouble with the 7th Mississippi. Then I have no choice but to intervene. You. The middle-aged guard was so angry that he couldn't speak for a long time. What's the point of talking so much nonsense? Either kneel down and apologize to this young master, or this young master will send you to hell. Yiqing Luo listened to both sides negotiate back and forth, but no one asked her opinion. Yuchiya was in her hands. The ones who should be afraid, should shrink back, was the Yuchi family. And not the people on her side. She didn't need to negotiate with the Yuchi family at all. Yiqing Luo, don't bully intolerably. Yuchiya's complexion immediately turned ashen. Make him kneel? In this life, apart from the current monarch, no one could make him kneel. Am I bullying people? What I'm bullying is nothing but an animal. Yiqing Luo sneered. The look in Yuchiya's eyes was ruthless, his facial features twisted as if he couldn't wait to cut Yiqing Luo into 1,000 pieces. Suddenly, he felt the coldness on his neck once again stick to his skin. His body tensed up and didn't dare to move. I'll count to 3, you choose. Yiqing Luo's eyebrows rose, a bit charming. That pair of charming eyes flashed with a dazzling flowing light. She slightly leaned forward, her pink lips hooked into an enchanting arc, and directly jumped out a word at Yuchiya's ear, 3. With a plop sound, Yuchiya kneeled on the ground. Almost subconsciously, when Yuchiya came back to his senses, he was already kneeling on the ground. Yi. Qing. Fall. Yuchiya's entire body trembled. He clenched his fists so tightly that his nails were already embedded into his flesh. He hated himself for being weak and useless, and hated Yiqing Luo's craftiness. She actually made use of his fear and deliberately skipped 1 and 2, after saying 3, and directly counted to 3. Because Yiqing Luo was very clear that he treasured his life. As for her, killing him would be a piece of cake. All right, 7th young Mississippi. Today, consider this matter dropped for my sake. At this time, Mu Zifan walked over and lightly patted Yuchiya's shoulder. Yiqing Luo raised her brows and let go of her hand. All right, this young matriarch shall give you this face. Today's matter, this young matriarch shall treat it as if nothing had happened. Mu Zifan faintly nodded. He single-handedly grabbed Yuchiya's shoulder, smiling warmly. My 2 guards, since 7th young miss has already decided not to pursue your wrongdoings, this matter ends here. Lead your young master and get lost from pristine elixir medicine shop. He casually tossed Uchiya, who weighed 100 kilograms, out as if he was throwing away garbage. Those 2 middle-aged guards were so angry that their complexions darkened. The light in their eyes was gloomy, and they leapt up one after another, catching Uchiya. One on the left, one on the right, they supported Uchiya's arms on both sides. Chapter 42. What was meant by, treated as if nothing had happened? What was meant by 7th young lady wouldn't pursue their wrongdoings? What was meant by this matter would end here? Could they still have some face? Uchiya fiercely clenched his teeth, his eyes brimming with killing intent. It was as if he had already forgotten that he was the first to provoke Yiqing Luo. Mu Zifan took out a token from his waist and said with a light smile, apart from my identity as the eldest son of the Mu family, I am also the young chief of the Alchemist Guild. That token was the size of a palm and was golden in color. The word medicine was clearly visible. The 2 middle-aged guards opened their mouths, but no one listened to Uchiya's words and went to arrest him. Alchemist Guild. Who didn't know how powerful the Alchemist Guild was? The Alchemist Guild was one of the top powers in Nirvana realm. They specialized in recruiting alchemists and covered the entire Nirvana realm. Although alchemists weren't common, there were still 2,000 to 3,000 of them gathered together. Every continent also had a division of the Alchemy Union. Don't look at the number of people in the Alchemist Guild as compared to other large powers. But this Alchemist Guild was the target that countless large families wanted to curry favor with. They had countless supporting powers behind their backs. The Alchemist Guild's objective was, one person, one medicine, to rule the world. Unexpectedly, Mu family's Mu Zifan was actually the Alchemist Guild's young chief. If they provoked the Alchemist Guild, just one word and there would be countless powers pouring out to work for the Alchemist Guild. What are you guys still standing here for? Go for this young master. If anything happens, put it all on this young master's head. Uchiya was so angry that he lost his head. How could he care if he was some young chief or young sect master? His mind was only filled with the desire to kill these 3 people. 4th young master, even if master came, he would still have to be courteous when he sees the young chief. The middle-aged guard whispered in Uchiya's ear. Uchiya's fierce expression suddenly froze. Children who relied on their fathers relied on their fathers. Once they heard that their fathers also had to be courteous, the child who relied on their fathers became terrified. 4th young master, let's go back first and report this matter to master. Let master take revenge for you. The guard gave an idea. All right. Uchiya clenched his fist and forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart. Today, this young master will give you a way out and let you off this time. I will definitely make you suffer the consequences. Throwing down these ruthless words, Uchiya dejectedly left under the escort of the guards. Mu Zifei excitedly rushed to Mu Zifan's side, his eyes filled with excitement. Big brother, you took the Young Alliance Master's command token? The Alchemy Union was all about strength. If one wanted to become the Alchemy Union's Union Master, they would need to have both a moral character and alchemy ability. As for the Junior Alliance Chief, he had to go through layers of selections and tests before finally becoming the future Alliance Chief of the Alchemist Alliance. Yiqing Luo sorted out the Alchemist Guild's matters in her memory, and the gaze which she shot towards Mu Zifan was filled with some probing intent. Coincidentally, Mu Zifan looked over. He was caught peeping. Yiqing Luo had no intention to conceal, but instead openly sized him up. 7th young lady, as the saying goes, no discord, no concord. I really appreciate your attitude. How about, we become friends? Mu Zifan asked with a faint smile. Yiqing Luo's slender brows raised slightly as she pretended to be disappointed and sighed. I thought we were already considered as friends. It turns out that eldest young Master Mu only treats me as a friend now. Mu Zifan couldn't help but laugh out loud. Chapter 43. There was something fishy. There was a problem. There was definitely a problem. Just as Mu Zifei was abnormally serious and was about to ask questions, he saw Yiqing Luo folding the fan in her hand and handing it to Mu Zifan. "Thank you for lending me the fan, it helped me a lot." Yiqing Luo slightly raised her charming eyes and revealed a sincere smile. Mu Zifan took the fan, opened it and closed it again. "Why did 7th Miss think of using a fan as a weapon? The way you hold the fan is very skilled. Has 7th Miss been good at using a fan since young?" No wonder he was the young chief, his insight was simply too strong. To be able to easily see through her fan technique, he must have practiced it since young. She was surprised and apprehensive in her heart, but still had a sweet smile on her face. A fan is light enough, inconspicuous, relatively convenient and can be easily held. Therefore, using a fan as a weapon is the first choice. As for the question of whether she had been practicing with a fan since young, Yiqing Luo directly avoided it and didn't answer. Mu Zifan was a smart person and naturally wouldn't continue to ask. Who knew why Yiqing Luo became so powerful overnight after being useless for more than 10 years? He was also too lazy to delve into these unimportant questions. Right now, what he was most clear about was that he and Yiqing Luo weren't enemies. Just knowing this was enough. At this time, Yi Fengyu, under the shopkeeper's lead, walked over with a face full of apprehension. Especially when he saw the two young masters of the Mu family were also at the side, his resolute legs suddenly froze in place. The embarrassment on his face was obvious. "Have you finished getting the medicine?" Yiqing Luo stepped forward and put one hand on his back, patting him in relief. Yi Fengyu stuffed the rolled-up medicine list into Yiqing Luo's hands. His young and handsome face tolerated shyness. "Yes, I have." Yiqing Luo was calm and spread out the medicine list. There were several wrinkles on the medicine list. It was estimated that when Yi Fengyu took the medicine, his heart was tangled. Mu Zifan's peripheral vision swept over the medicine list and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. 7th Miss bought so many medicinal ingredients, is it for refining medicine? There were at least hundreds of medicinal ingredients on that medicine list. What kind of prescription actually needed so many medicinal ingredients? "It's used for alchemy." Yiqing Luo had no intention to hide as she nodded. "7th young lady, you're also an alchemist?" When Mu Zifei heard this, he moved closer and lowered his head to look at the medicine list. At that moment, he was completely stunned. He swiftly snatched the medicinal list over and gazed at the astonishing medicinal herbs on the list as his lips twitched. "Yiqing Luo. You don't have to do this." He said that the medicinal herbs were all exempted, but he had not expected Yiqing Luo to be so thick-skinned and shameless, with no intention of standing on ceremony at all. He simply wished that he could carry pristine elixir medicine shop away with him. That's enough. 7th young lady has suffered so much at pristine elixir medicine hall today. Take these medicinal herbs as an apology. Mu Zifan pulled Mu Zifei behind him and made a shoo gesture at him. Immediately following that, he drew out a golden token and with a flick of his finger, that token flew directly towards Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo received it with a flip of her hand and saw that the palm-sized token was somewhat similar to Mu Zifan's young chief token at first glance. It's just that this palm-sized token was imprinted with the word, Alchemist Guild. "This is the Alchemist Guild's pass, take it. If you want to come to the Alchemist Guild in the future, you can look for me anytime." Chapter 44. The Alchemist Guild's pass wasn't something an ordinary person could possess. In the entire Nirvana continent, there were no more than 500 people who possessed this pass. These 500 people were all people of virtue and prestige, people who were worthy of respect. She didn't expect that Mu Zifan would actually give this pass to her. Yiqing Luo felt his sincerity. She hooked her lips and put the pass at her waist. "You were robbed of several hundred medicinal ingredients and still have to give an Alchemist Guild pass. Seventh young lady, my big brother treats you really well. Mu Zifei winked and smiled. Mu Zifan smiled calmly. I will always be attentive to any talented alchemist. You will definitely be a very good alliance leader. Yi Qing Luo smiled. If I have nowhere to go in the future, perhaps I will really rely on you. At that time, I hope you won't despise me for being stupid. The three exchanged a few words before Mu Zifan received a letter from the Alchemist Guild and left midway. Yi Qing Luo also said her goodbyes and prepared to return to the residence with her brother. Mu Zifei sent them away from pristine Elixir Medicine Hall. Just as they reached the entrance, he said, if Yuchiya comes to find trouble with you again, he can directly come to the Mu family to find me. My big brother is always in the Alchemist Guild and may not see him every 2 to 3 days. I will. Right now the three of us are stepping on the same boat. If I have something, of course I won't be polite. Mu Zifei rolled his eyes. You really don't know how to be polite. I have never been polite to my friends. The implication was that in her heart, she had already regarded the two Mu brothers as her friends. Mu Zifei couldn't help but laugh. No wonder his big brother, who had always been a loner, would be interested in such a little girl. This girl's character was indeed too likable. That pass, you take good care of it. Its use is absolutely not as simple as being unimpeded in the Alchemist Guild. He suddenly lowered his voice and solemnly said, just as my big brother said, in an emergency, that pass can save your life. Yi Qing Luo's charming eyes rose into a curved arc, making her appearance even more elegant and beautiful. I hope there will not be a time when I need to use the pass. After leaving pristine Elixir Medicine Hall, Yi Fengyu's expression was still stunned and unable to recover. Yi Qing Luo slapped the back of his head. What are you thinking about? Give me the herbs. Yi Fengyu rubbed his head and cried out in pain, Sister, when did you become so strong? Why are the two young masters of the Mu family so attentive to you? Was there a need to give away the Alchemy Union's token just to make friends? Could it be that they've fallen for you? Before he could finish his words, he felt a knock on his head. Let's go home and refine medicine. Yi Fengyu clutched his head as he took off the ring in his hand and passed it to Yi Qing Luo with an aggrieved expression. He stored all the medicinal ingredients in this interspatial ring. There were 3 interspatial rings in the profound phoenix ring. Yi Qing Luo took one out and passed it to her brother. When they returned to the Yi family, Yi Qing Luo poured out the medicinal herbs and swiftly sorted them into different categories before keeping them into the profound phoenix ring. Then, he gave the spatial ring to Yi Fengyu. He also warned him not to expose his wealth, especially the rare space ring. He had to be even more careful. After driving Yi Fengyu out of the abandoned courtyard, Yi Qing Luo lay on the bed and immediately sent her consciousness into the Azure Dew bracelet. According to the page of the 100 Medicines Pill Refining Manual, Yi Qing Luo began to refine pills. Chapter 45. Yi Qing Luo sat cross-legged on the ground with a huge cauldron in front of her. The 4 corners of the cauldron didn't touch the ground and were suspended in the air. Yi Qing Luo handed over the herbs bit by bit according to the prescription and casually replied, I want to help Xiao Yu refine his profound jade heart. The profound grade was extremely difficult to break through, especially the profound jade heart. Some people spent their entire lives and were only one step away from the next level of profound jade heart but were unable to break through. Yi Qing Luo could see that her brother only lacked a little bit of opportunity. And this opportunity lay in her. As long as the pill was successfully refined, her brother's profound jade heart would definitely break through. And Ziling, that lass, she is very loyal to me. I want to cure her leg. Yi Qing Luo took another medicine list and glanced at it quickly. This was the muscle recovery pill from the 100 Medicines pill. After taking it, it could quickly repair damaged muscles and external injuries. In her memory, Ziling's leg was broken by Yi Qing Ling when she was 7 or 8 years old in order to protect her. This was because when Ziling sold herself to bury her father, she begged her mother to use the money she earned from embroidery for more than 10 days to bury Ziling's father. She even brought Ziling back to the Three Springs sect. The little girl knew how to repay kindness and wholeheartedly treated Yiqing Luo as her benefactor. For Yiqing Luo, even if she lost her life, she wouldn't hesitate. Yiqing Luo had never been stingy towards those who were loyal to her. These 2 herbs, with your current grade, are enough to successfully refine them. You just need to control the amount and the fire. Old man Sung smiled and nodded, his eyebrows curved as he stroked his white beard. What he admired the most was Yiqing Luo's importance to her own people. This girl looked like she was indifferent to everything, but in fact, she was an extremely good girl. This temperament was somewhat similar to that person in his memory. He thought too far in the future. Old man Sung shook his head and restrained the complicated thoughts in his mind. He smilingly watched Yiqing Luo's refining steps. Alchemy required a lot of patience. The most taboo was to be impatient. Yiqing Luo had refined for at least a month in the Azure Dew bracelet, which was equivalent to 3 days in the outside world. Her mind was affected by the violent banging on the door outside. It was the most crucial time to refine the pill, so it was impossible for Yiqing Luo to come out from the Azure Dew bracelet. She tried her best to calm down and control the fire in her heart. The ones knocking on the door were Ziling and Yifengyu. After knocking and banging for a long time, he did not hear any movement from inside the house. Yifengyu was anxious, he raised his palm and chopped down. The huge wooden door was smashed into pieces. The 2 of them rushed into the room and were about to shout Yiqing Luo's name. Ziling screamed and pointed at the bed. He saw Yiqing Luo lying flat on the bed, her entire body was emitting a blazing flame-like glow. That ray of red light wrapped around Yiqing Luo. As soon as they got closer, they could feel a scorching heat. It was as if it was going to melt everything around it. Miss. What happened to Miss? This was the first time Ziling had seen such a situation. She was so shocked that her legs gave way and she fell to the ground. Yifengyu narrowed his eyes and carefully sized up his sister's expression. In any case, he was a student of the academy. Yifengyu stared at her for a long time before saying, "Elder sister must have extracted her divine sense and entered her divine sense space to refine pills. That's why elder sister's body is emitting the flames of refining pills." Chapter 46. No. Yifengyu lowered his voice, not wanting to disturb Yiqing Luo. He pulled Ziling back to the door, frowning slightly. The greatest taboo for an alchemist is to be disturbed, especially when refining pills with divine sense. The danger is even greater. Failure in refining pills was a small matter. What was feared was that it would hurt the alchemist's body, and even more serious might cause damage to the alchemist's divine sense. Ziling anxiously stirred her fingers. Then what should we do? Those people from the Yuchi family are too overbearing, we can't stop them. Just as she was speaking, outside the courtyard, there were already countless sounds of hurried footsteps. The door of the abandoned courtyard was banging loudly. There were also a few dignified voices shouting and cursing. "Yiqing Luo, don't hide inside like a turtle. Since you dared to hurt our 4th young master, you should have the guts to bear our anger. Yiqing Luo, get out here. I will let you know the consequences of going against the Yuchi family." These shouting and cursing voices were very unfamiliar. There was also Yi Tianquang's angry low voice, "Evil creature. Quickly open the door, otherwise don't blame me for breaking in." Hearing Yi Tianquang's voice, Yifengyu was stunned for a moment. It was actually his father. Very quickly, he understood. It turned out that his father had betrayed his sister and wanted to hand her over to the Yuchi family. Yifengyu's eyes flashed with anger, his 5 fingers clenched tightly. He really couldn't understand why his father always targeted his sister. Even if his sister was a waste, unable to cultivate profound qi, but after all, wasn't she his daughter? It was said that even a vicious tiger wouldn't eat its cubs. But his father didn't care about his sister's life at all. For a moment, Yifengyu felt complicated. In his heart, he felt even more guilty towards Yiqing Luo. Born from the same mother, twin sisters, he enjoyed the treatment of the Yi family's young master in the front yard. But his sister was living a life worse than that of a servant. Anger welled up in his heart. He strode to the abandoned courtyard's door and opened it. Outside the door stood 3 middle-aged men. The man at the forefront wore a navy blue robe, with a golden silk belt hanging from his waist, and at a glance it was obvious that it wasn't an ordinary pendant. His face was full of majesty and his aura was aggressive. As for the 2 people behind him, they were the ones Yifeng Yu had seen that day, the 2 ninth-grade mystic Profound Realm guards. Yi Tianquang stood behind the 3 people, his face ashen. At his side was the steward of the 3 Springs sect, Yi Changwei. The moment the door opened, they wanted to rush in. When Yi Tianquang saw that it was Yifeng Yu, he frowned. Yi Changwei was very good at grasping Yi Tianquang's mood changes. He immediately said, "8th young master, you are the Yi clan's 8th young master. How could you come to this kind of place?" As he spoke, he stepped forward to grab Yifeng Yu's hand. Yifeng Yu's cold eyes swept over, and he waved his palm to strike Yi Changwei's hand. Yi Changwei's profound rank was higher than his, but he did not dare to counterattack, and could only avoid Yifeng Yu's palm energy. "You also know that this is such a place?" Yifeng Yu suppressed his anger and glared at Yi Tianquang. "Father, I am the 8th young master of the Yi clan. Staying in this abandoned courtyard is an insult to my identity. Then have you ever thought that the person living in this abandoned courtyard is the 3 Springs sect's young matriarch, the Yi family's first daughter, Yi Luo? You, Yi Tianquang sternly berated, "Pay attention to who you are talking to." How could he have expected that Yifeng Yu, who had always been obedient, would use this kind of attitude to question him because of Yi Luo? Didn't Yifeng Yu always detest and loathe Yi Luo the most? Chapter 47. "Sister, why are you?" When Yifeng Yu heard this voice, he turned around in astonishment. He saw Yi Luo striding elegantly and slowly walking over. That red dress, as she walked, her skirt fluttered like a blooming rose. On that unparalleled face hung a light smile, captivating one's soul. "Ziling, tomorrow hang a signboard for me, on it write 'Livestock not allowed,' hang it above the main door." Yi Luo walked over and gestured towards the door. "Yes, Miss Ling, we'll go prepare now." Yi Tianquang clenched his teeth in anger, angrily pointing at Yi Luo. Unable to restrain his anger, he roared, "Evil girl! You dare to insult me?" Yi Luo rolled her eyes. "Father, I can't do anything about it." "You!" Yi Tianquang's wantonly anger and hatred in his heart slowly surged up. "So this is the discipline of your 3 Springs sect, actually allowing the younger generation to offend their superiors." It really broadened this old man's horizons. The middle-aged man standing at the forefront glanced at Yi Tianquang with eyes full of ridicule. Yi Tianquang immediately felt his face lose light. He gritted his teeth in shame and indignation. "Steward Yuchi, I didn't teach properly. Today I will hand over this evil girl to you. You can punish her." Steward Yuchi sneered, waved his hand, and 2 mystic profound grade 9 protectors were about to enter the broken courtyard to capture her. "Let me see who dares to enter." Yifeng Yu was anxious. He took out a long knife from his spatial ring and held it tightly in his hand. He stood in front of Yi Luo, his eyes staring fiercely at the person in front of him. "Today's matter is clearly your 4th young master's fault. You want my sister to take the blame? No way. You, come over here." Yi Tianquang's expression became increasingly dark. He cast a sidelong glance at Yi Changwei. Yi Changwei understood. A palm wind came out, wanting to scare Yifeng Yu. This palm had yet to move. Suddenly a cold wind attacked, a sharp pain in his wrist. The sound of bones breaking was extremely crisp. The scene was silent for a few moments. Immediately after, was Yi Changwei's painful scream. A slender white hand slowly slid down from Yi Changwei's arm. His wide red sleeves fluttered in the wind. Yi Changwei hugged his right hand and knelt on the ground. His entire face twisted in pain. Everyone's gazes fell onto Yi Luo in unison. His eyes were filled with disbelief. She was at least 4 to 5 steps away from Yi Changwei. Between them was Yi Fengyu, steward Yuqi, and the guards. But, when exactly did she get close to Yi Changwei and pinched his wrist? No one knew. Just what kind of movement technique was this? How could it be so strange? It was so strange that it made one's hair stand on end. Steward Yuqi's face was gloomy. He had heard the guards talking about Yi Qingluo's strange movements. After seeing it with his own eyes, he knew that the guards were not exaggerating. He raised his guard, in case Yi Qingluo silently appeared around him. Insubordination? In front of my lord father, you actually dare to make a move against the son of the first wife. Are you tired of living? Yi Qingluo snorted coldly. Soon after, she raised her eyes and met Yi Tianquang's angry eyes in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. Lord father, you don't need to thank your daughter too much. Your daughter, as the young matriarch of Three Springs sect, naturally has the right to rectify Three Springs sect's conduct. Yi Tianquang was so angry that he trembled. Oh, that's right, Three Springs sect has a matriarch like father. No wonder Three Springs sect's development is declining more and more. Yi Qingluo raised her eyebrows. Her cold and arrogant gaze swept over the three people from the Yuqi family, the corners of her mouth hooked into a bloodthirsty cold arc. She single-handedly supported Yi Fengyu, her gaze directly pressing down on Yi Tianquang. Lord father, right now your son, in front of you, has been humiliated by a mere Yuqi family steward. Can you swallow this insult? He couldn't swallow it. Of course he couldn't swallow it. Yi Tianquang's complexion was like a vegetable. He, the dignified sect leader of the Three Springs sect, had to lower his voice to a steward from a profound practitioner clan. After being stirred up by Yi Qingling, he felt that his face had been swept to the ground. That hot-bloodedness in his heart was stimulated by Yi Qingluo. No matter how much he disliked Yi Qingluo in his heart, no matter how much he loathed her. But in the eyes of outsiders, Yi Qingluo was still the young matriarch of the Three Springs sect. It was all right to be bullied by one's own family, but to be bullied by others, wouldn't it let outsiders ridicule Three Springs sect for having no one? Chapter 49. Steward Yuqi's expression also darkened. For a moment, he did not dare to act rashly. He had accurately calculated Yi Tianquang's temperament, only then did he dare to strut around in front of Yi Tianquang. After all, the Three Springs sect status was there for all to see. If it weren't for Yi Tianquang's cowardice, always wanting to curry favor with all the forces, he wouldn't have had the guts to step into the Three Springs sect. Yi Tianquang's sudden display of power made Steward Yuqi's heart beat like a drum. This young master won't mention the affair between Yuqi Ye and fourth sister for now. At this moment, Yi Qingluo opened her mouth leisurely, but, because this young matriarch knows their secret, he repeatedly made a move against this young matriarch, and even dared to lay a vicious hand on the Mu family's two young masters. He deserves to be seriously injured and bedridden. Steward Yuqi was secretly shocked when he heard this. He was well aware of his young master's romantic routine, but, flirting with the fourth miss of the Three Springs sect, should he praise his young master for his infinite charm, or should he wipe his cold sweat for his young master? On the other hand, Yi Tianquang's complexion was overcast, as if the frost of October had covered his entire face. What did he mean by Yuqi Ye and fourth sister were having illicit relations? His, Yi Tianquang's, daughter was actually humiliated by that Yuqi family scum? The Yuqi family didn't even put the Three Springs sect in their eyes. This thought flashed through Yi Tianquang's mind. He thought that the Yuqi family had also offended the Mu family. Yi Tianquang's entire person was also filled with confidence. Like an angry lion, cold air wantonly emanated from his entire body. Steward Yuqi, you dare to humiliate my Three Springs sect. This sect master will absolutely not let this matter rest. Sect Master Yi, this is a misunderstanding. Steward Yuqi's anger abruptly subsided, and his tone softened. The Yuqi family has absolutely no intention of insulting the Three Springs sect. No? Yi Tianquang sneered and slightly narrowed his eyes. This sect master's eyes aren't blind. Get the hell out of Three Springs Manor right now. I will personally pay a visit to the Yuchi family and ask them how they will account for what happened today. Steward Yuchi's expression was thoroughly dark. A sharp glint flashed across his eyes. Since he had already shed all pretense of cordiality, he could not be bothered to give him any face. His long arms suddenly stretched out and his 5 fingers turned into a yin claw, pressing towards Yiqing Luo. Steward Yuchi's figure had just moved when Yiqing Luo acutely sensed a murderous aura. In the next second, his body reflexively avoided the danger. Steward Yuchi missed once. He immediately turned around and pressed forward with his palm. His eyes were cold and filled with murderous intent. Yi Tianquang was thoroughly enraged. In front of him, she had repeatedly attacked him. What a Yuchi family! Yi Tianquang's eyes were bloodshot. He suddenly clenched his fists, and a wisp of qi lingered on his fists. Just as he was about to make a move, someone placed a hand on his shoulder. Yi Tianquang was so startled that he almost turned his hand to strike behind him. In the instant that the corner of the black robe floated into his eyes, Yi Tianquang's palm was forcibly intercepted in midair. The Yi clan is very lively today. What a coincidence that I've come. A clear voice descended from the sky. This voice was very calm and indifferent. But it easily made Yi Tianquang and the 3 Yuchi family members stop their movements. Your Highness. They knelt down to pay their respects. Only Yiqing Luo stood alone, especially conspicuous. Yi Fengyu tugged at the corner of her robe, reminding her to abide by the rules. But he saw Yiqing Luo's eyes were cold, and the corner of her mouth held a sneer of ridicule. And Ling Fenghua held a gentle and refined smile. Facing Yiqing Luo's indifference and rudeness, he didn't say a word of blame. Get up. Today His Highness is here to see his fiancée. No need to be so courteous. Ling Fenghua smiled and waved his hand. Chapter 50. Fiancé. Steward Yuchi's body stiffened and his face turned ashen. Since when did the crown prince acknowledge Yiqing Luo, this waste, as his future crown princess? Wasn't the most shameful thing for the crown prince to have Yiqing Luo, that useless, weak and incompetent fiancé? Now, the crown prince's motive was obviously to support Yiqing Luo. Once the crown prince intervened, Steward Yuchi didn't even dare to think about it. He knelt on the ground like a stray dog, not daring to get up. What are you doing here? Yiqing Luo frowned slightly as she looked at Ling Fenghua in annoyance. Naturally, I'm here to see you. Ling Fenghua slowly approached Yiqing Luo, his brows were filled with a warm smile. As soon as he got close to her, he smelled the delicate fragrance on her body. His heart was like a monkey running amok as he couldn't help but stretched out his hand to hold Yiqing Luo's tender hand. Scram! A cold word was spat out from Yiqing Luo's pink lips. She sneered and unceremoniously slapped his hand away. Ling Fenghua, don't forget, this young mistress has already divorced you. As soon as he said this, the surroundings fell into silence. Yi Tianquang was so angry that he really wanted to slap Yiqing Luo to death. Previously, when Yiqing Luo said that she wanted to divorce the crown prince didn't pursue the matter. That was because the crown prince was coaxing her. The dignified crown prince was coaxing a girl? Yiqing Luo should be deeply grateful, all right. She actually wanted to divorce the crown prince? Yi Tianquang's malicious and ruthless eyes fiercely looked at Yiqing Luo. Vile spawn, this prince likes Miss Seventh's temperament. Ling Fenghua waved his hand, with an expression that said, you can do whatever you want, I'll take it. Yiqing Luo shuddered as goosebumps formed all over her body. Like her personality? Could you please not disgust me? Damn it. I'm about to throw up my dinner from last night. Yiqing Luo rubbed her arms as she shifted her feet to the side with a look of disgust. Yi Fengyu stood up immediately and stood in front of Yiqing Luo. The youth's slender figure happened to block Ling Fenghua's line of sight. Ling Fenghua's smile froze. He had painstakingly coaxed a woman, only to be despised by her. His face had been thrown 108,000 miles away. Your Highness the Crown Prince, she's just too shy. Yi Tianquang racked his brains to think of an excuse, his face still piled with a flattering smile. This excuse almost made Yiqing Luo choke on her saliva. Shy? Holy shit. Which eye of yours saw that I'm shy? Even if I'm shy, I won't be shy in front of Ling Fenghua. Yiqing Luo felt that if she were to continue staying here, she would definitely vomit out yesterday's dinner. She narrowed her charming eyes slightly and her slightly cold gaze swept across the few people kneeling on the ground. Soon after, he slightly raised his gaze and stared at Yi Tianquang. The matter of the Three Springs sect and the Yuchi family will be handled by Father Xiao Yu, let's go. After saying that, he walked towards the gate of the abandoned courtyard without looking back. Yi Fengyu followed closely behind. He completely ignored Ling Fenghua. It was the first time that Ling Fenghua had lost face in front of a woman. He had always been proud and believed that as long as he wanted to, he could have any woman in the world. But he didn't expect that Yiqing Luo would be rude to him again and again. A woman with thorns all over her body, when he first saw her, there was indeed a sense of novelty and he wanted to conquer this woman. But after a long time, it hurt. A proud man couldn't wait to let go of this thorny rose. Thinking of a few days ago in front of the common people, Yiqing Luo made him suffer. Thinking of being ignored by Yiqing Luo now. Chapter 51. Seventh Miss. Ling Fenghua suppressed his anger as his voice came from behind her. The matter of breaking off the engagement is due to my lack of consideration. I sincerely apologize to you and will try my best to satisfy all your requests. Are these not enough to appease your anger? Yiqing Luo stopped in her tracks, turned her head and curled her lips disapprovingly. Anger? I'm not angry at you. Then. Ling Fenghua's face lit up. But his smile had yet to spread to his eyes when it froze at the corner of his mouth. He only heard Yiqing Luo's cold and sweet smile. Towards you, I have no feelings at all. Why should I waste my feelings on an insignificant person? No feelings at all? Who was the one who kept on pestering him, calling out, Brother Hua, so happily? Ling Fenghua's arrogant heart seemed to have been stabbed by a knife. Yiqing Luo was still smiling sweetly, her charming eyes seemed to be mocking him. What's more, who stipulated that I must forgive you if you apologize? Ling Fenghua's eyes were filled with coldness as he strode over and stretched out his hand to grab Yiqing Luo's shoulder. Yiqing Luo habitually dodged sideways. Just as she was about to counterattack, she saw Ling Fenghua's face suddenly turned green and red. It was as if he had eaten *T. His eyes widened and his mouth kept trembling, looking like he was about to vomit. Following that, everyone except Ling Fenghua knelt on the ground. They were shouting something like Overlord. Overlord? An evildoer's face appeared in Yiqing Luo's mind. She looked around sharply and didn't discover Dmo Xian's presence. Then, why did these people inexplicably shout Overlord? Just as she was thinking, Ling Fenghua suddenly grabbed her wrist and raised it up with an expression of eating shit on his face. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness and unwillingness as he pointed at Yiqing Luo's sleeve and asked with gritted teeth, Why? Why do you have this? Yiqing Luo then discovered that her sleeve revealed a piece of purple cloth. That cloth happened to be exposed at one end, embroidered with an incomparably clear Overlord word. Overlord? Dmo Xian? Yiqing Luo shook off Ling Fenghua's hand and pulled out that piece of cloth. F***CK. Wasn't this the day she met Dmo Xian for the first time? The last palm strike she had sent towards Dmo Xian didn't hit him, but hit off that piece of cloth on his sleeve. As expected of the legend of the Nirvana realm, even a small piece of clothing could intimidate people. It was simply too cool. What exactly is your relationship with the Overlord? Ling Fenghua's eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the piece of cloth. A woman was hiding a small piece of a man's clothes. What else could that mean? Especially, if it wasn't for the overlord's willingness, how could Yiqing Luo possibly have his clothes? Ling Fenghua felt as if he had been cuckolded. No wonder Yiqing Luo had been so arrogant recently, with such a detestable attitude towards him. It turned out that he had already hooked up with his next target. His gaze towards Yiqing Luo became even more vicious. Yiqing Luo found it funny. Ling Fenghua looked as if he had been cuckolded. What was going on? He had never treated her as his fiancée, so why was he acting like this now? Yiqing Luo sneered as she stuffed the cloth into her sleeves, pulled up Yi Fengyu who was kneeling on the ground, and strode into the abandoned courtyard. With a bam, the abandoned courtyard's main door closed. The wind blew, rolling up the fallen leaves on the ground, sprinkling onto the back of Ling Fenghua's feet. The scene was silent. Chapter 52. It was undeniable that the deafening sound of the door slamming made Yi Fengyu feel very refreshed. But after feeling refreshed, he felt a lingering fear. The person outside was the current Crown Prince Slamming the door and leaving, although domineering, this was a great disrespect to the Crown Prince. Just as Yi Fengyu scratched the back of his head with a face full of apprehension, a hand suddenly stretched out in front of him. This is a peerless immortal pill, take it and eat it. Peerless immortal pill? Yi Fengyu's pupils suddenly widened, a burst of ecstasy spread from the bottom of his heart. What disrespect to the Crown Prince, to hell with it all. His excited hands trembled as he grasped Yiqing Luo's hand and pushed her slender fingers away one by one. When the last finger was pushed away, an earth-colored pill appeared in the palm of her plain white palm. At first glance, this pill couldn't be any more ordinary. But upon a closer look, one would discover that the pill was shrouded in a faint medicinal mist, emitting a medicinal fragrance. Just taking a whiff of the medicinal scent, he felt his entire body's exhaustion was swept away. Yi Fengyu's excited lips trembled, unable to spit out half a word for a long time. His hands cupped the peerless immortal pill, his face full of ecstasy. Although it is a low-grade pill, I reduced the amount of medicinal ingredients and added a few more. After the transformation, compared to ordinary peerless immortal pills, the medicinal effect should be a bit stronger. Peerless immortal pill, a low-grade pill, could greatly enhance a profound practitioner's profound jade heart absorption, thus reaching the barrier of profound jade heart advancement. Of course, it also didn't mean that every profound practitioner who took the peerless immortal pill would advance. It all depended on individual factors. I still have 6 pills on me. If you successfully advance your profound jade heart, I will unconditionally give the remaining 6 to you. Yiqing Luo tossed out another temptation when she saw her brother's smug look as if he was on cloud 9. Immediately, Yi Fengyu was overjoyed, his eyes sparkling. This is what you said. I will go back to the courtyard to practice now. One cauldron could at most refine 10 pills at a time. Yiqing Luo was able to refine 7 peerless immortal pills. It was already unprecedented. Yi Fengyu suddenly felt that there was meat to eat as long as he followed his sister. Therefore, Yi Fengyu respectfully held the immortal pill in his hands and happily left the abandoned courtyard. By the time Yi Fengyu's aura had completely disappeared from the range of her senses, the smile on Yiqing Luo's pale face disappeared from her lips. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. She supported herself with one hand on the wooden table and the other on her chest. His body swayed slightly, and his legs gave out and he fell onto the chair. Girl, are you all right? Old man Song's concerned voice came from her mind. Not long ago, when Yiqing Luo was refining pills, she was disturbed. Originally, she had wanted to calm her heart and wait until she finished refining the medicine before leaving the Azure Dew bracelet. But the other party had come knocking on his door. Yiqing Luo's state of mind was not at ease and her control of the fire was slightly off by a little. Because of this, there were only 7 pills refined in the end. As for Yiqing Luo, she had also suffered from the punishment of her consciousness refining pill. Her consciousness was damaged and she was injured. When facing Steward Yuqi and His Highness the Crown Prince, she forced herself to pretend that nothing was wrong. I'm fine. Yiqing Luo held her chest and closed her eyes. I'll be fine after resting for a while. It actually sucked your blood? Yiqing Luo was stunned. What's sucking my blood? The Dragon God Furnace is a legendary furnace. Like the Azure Dew Bracelet, it has a guardian spirit. The guardian of the Divine Dragon Cauldron is the totem outside the cauldron, the Golden Dragon. Old Man Sung bandaged Yiqing Luo's finger as he explained, the Golden Dragon's temper is the worst. Even if it's me, when I was still alive, I wasn't able to tame the Divine Dragon Cauldron. He paused for a moment, a puzzled look in his eyes. I've never heard of it taking the initiative to drink human blood, Golden Dragon. Yiqing Luo vaguely recalled that when she touched the Dragon God Furnace earlier, she seemed to have seen that golden light form a golden head. That sharp golden tooth cut a line from her finger. Chapter 54. Girl, you're really lucky. This old man is envious of your luck. Old Man Sung pushed Yiqing Luo towards the Dragon God Cauldron. All right, you can go over now. Yiqing Luo was dumbfounded. He wasn't allowed to go over just a moment ago, so why was he allowed to go over now? He thought that the Divine Dragon Cauldron would resist him again. But her body directly collided with the Divine Dragon Furnace. The ice-cold sensation instantly eroded her entire body. Yiqing Luo shivered and was just about to leave when she heard a strange voice resounding in her ear. New Master, I am the guardian of the Dragon God Cauldron, called Cauldron Dragon. The guardian of the Divine Dragon Furnace? New Master? Holy shit, what the hell? Little girl, the Dragon God Cauldron has absorbed your blood, so it has established a blood contract with you. It will follow you for the rest of your life, only for you to use. Old Man Sung saw Yiqing Luo's horrified expression and explained aloud. Not only was Yiqing Luo shocked, his heart was also overwhelmed with shock. When he was still alive, he obtained the Divine Dragon Cauldron. But even after his death, even after he became the protector of the Azure Dew Bracelet, he still had no way of taming the Divine Dragon Furnace. He had not expected the Dragon God Cauldron to take the initiative to sign a blood pact with Yiqing Luo. It seemed that this little girl's identity was extraordinary. At this moment, Yiqing Luo was communicating with the Cauldron Dragon. She learned from the Cauldron Dragon that the Divine Dragon Furnace was an alchemy furnace contracted by an ancient divine sovereign. After the Divine Emperor passed away, the Divine Dragon Furnace fell into the Nirvana realm. Then, Old Man Sung unexpectedly obtained it. Then, she appeared. Why me? Yiqing Luo was puzzled. This was the first time she had seen the Dragon God's Cauldron. She had also heard Old Man Sung mention that from when he was alive until he became a guardian, he had never been able to tame the Dragon God's Cauldron. She didn't understand why the Cauldron Dragon would choose to form a blood contract with her. The Cauldron Dragon's voice was loud and clear, possessing the dignity of the dragon race. Because of your scent. Taste? Yiqing Luo raised her hand and sniffed her body. He showered every day, and there wasn't any special smell. You humans can't smell this smell, said the Cauldron Dragon. Yiqing Luo's hand covered the pattern of the Dragon God Cauldron. The Dragon God Cauldron suddenly trembled and randomly transformed into a palm-sized cauldron, falling into Yiqing Luo's palm. The Cauldron Dragon's voice came again. I can be as big or as small as you wish. I will definitely teach you everything I know about refining medicine. In other words, it would not interfere in anything other than alchemy. He held the Divine Dragon Furnace in his hand. He also had Old Man Sung, a Grandmaster Alchemy Senior, and Cauldron Dragon's teachings. Yiqing Luo suddenly felt that she was going to soar into the sky in the alchemist's circle. I want to refine the marrow cleansing pill. Yiqing Luo's eyes were filled with joy. Ever since she started concocting pills, she had always wanted to concoct better pills. He wanted to unlock the seal on his meridians, wanted to stabilize his brother's profound rank, wanted to cure Ziling's leg. Now that she had the Divine Dragon Cauldron, everything she wanted could come true. The cauldron dragon was silent for a moment, as if it was investigating the situation within Yiqing Luo's body. Soon after, a dignified voice rang out leisurely, "All right, I only need 2 days." 2 days. No wonder it was a cauldron that the divine sovereign had once used. His words were so unyielding. Yiqing Luo was extremely excited. "Cauldron dragon, let's start refining the pill now. Before that, you must guarantee that no one will disturb you while you refine the pill," the cauldron dragon said solemnly. Chapter 55. Yiqing Luo understood. Under Cauldron Dragon's request, she first took a pill to treat the damage to her consciousness. Then she left the Azure Dew bracelet and called Ziling over. She told her to stand guard at the door and that no one was allowed to come in and disturb her. Just as she was about to return to her room, she thought of something and added, "If little Yu comes, let him guard the door with you." In the following days, Yiqing Luo lay on the bed and her consciousness entered the Azure Dew bracelet to refine pills. For an alchemist, apart from having good pill refining skills and character, they also had to have the best refining tools. A top-grade cauldron and a powerful profound jade heart condensed core flame, in addition to precious medicinal ingredients. This was an essential piece of equipment if one wanted to successfully refine a pill. Yiqing Luo fulfilled all of these conditions. It was just that her current body was somewhat powerless to control the legendary grade cauldron. At first, refining pills could be considered easy. She followed the 100 medicines pill-forming recipe and threw the medicinal ingredients into the cauldron according to Cauldron Dragon's instructions. She controlled the heat. But after a long time, her profound jade heart clearly couldn't support it. Usually, the longest time to refine pills wasn't more than 8 hours. This time, it took 24 hours to complete the refinement. The originally extremely pure core flame gradually became slightly turbid. Her breathing also became more and more chaotic. "Girl. You hold on." Old man Sung realized the situation wasn't right and suddenly slapped his head. "I forgot to remind Cauldron Dragon, your profound jade heart isn't your own." Dmo Xian's profound jade heart could be freely operated by Yiqing Luo. But after a long time, it could easily cause the profound jade heart to become tired and resist Yiqing Luo. Seeing the cold sweat on Yiqing Luo's forehead dripping down drop by drop, it was obvious she couldn't hold on any longer. Old man Song's spirit body flashed and quickly landed behind Yiqing Luo. Both palms came together and a white light burst forth from Old man Song's palms. Immediately, a warm current assaulted Yiqing Luo's profound jade heart. It lingered around the profound jade heart's surroundings and rotated several times. It easily suppressed the pain Yiqing Luo had been forcibly holding on to. That warm current revolved unceasingly within her body. After one revolution, her profound chi gradually stabilized. Boom! With a loud bang, the divine dragon cauldron shook. The golden light instantly lit up the entire void. As soon as the lid of the cauldron was lifted, a few golden pills automatically popped out. Yiqing Luo flipped her palm and those few medicinal pills automatically fell into her palm. There were 3 in total. Eldest. Eldest. I refined it successfully. I've succeeded. Yiqing Luo's brows were filled with ecstasy. She held the 3 golden pills and quickly walked towards Old Man Song. Then, he saw Old Man Song lying on the ground. His white robes, white hair, and beard seemed to have merged with the space around him. The smile on Yiqing Luo's face instantly froze. "Old Man Song, what's wrong with you?" Yiqing Luo's expression congealed as she half knelt on the ground and stretched out her hand to help Old Man Song up. "Master, don't touch him for now." The Cauldron Dragon's voice interrupted her actions. Yiqing Luo's arms stiffened, her eyes filled with worry. "Is it because Old Man Song just passed me profound chi, causing, girl, don't worry." Old Man Song's voice was very light. His white beard moved along with his lips. "I'm fine. I'll be fine after recuperating in the Azure Dew bracelet for a period of time." Yi Qing Luo's pink lips pursed into a straight line. Chapter 56. He is the guardian of the Azure Dew bracelet. As long as his spiritual body is still within the bracelet, nothing will happen to him, said the Cauldron Dragon. Yi Qing Luo bit her lips, Old Man Tsang will be fine. The Cauldron Dragon was the guardian of the divine artifact. It wouldn't deceive her. In any case, she was the master of the Cauldron Dragon. Little girl, since the marrow cleansing pill has been successfully refined, there's no time to lose. Eat the marrow cleansing pill and unseal your meridians. Old Man Tsang's voice grew softer and softer. I have to go into seclusion for a period of time. The Cauldron Dragon will guide you. Yi Qing Luo nodded her head repeatedly. I will, when you come out of closed-door cultivation, I will not let you down. The corner of Old Man Tsang's lips twitched weakly. Soon after, white mist curled up and completely enveloped Old Man Tsang's body. After the fog dispersed, where was Old Man Tsang's figure? Don't think too much. Let's begin. Cauldron Dragon didn't give Yi Qing Luo time to think about other things. Yi Qing Luo concealed the uneasiness in her heart. Indeed, it was useless no matter how much she thought about it. The only thing she could do now was to unlock the seal on her meridians and cultivate her profound qi to make herself stronger. According to Cauldron Dragon's method, Yi Qing Luo sat cross-legged on a stone block. Immediately, his little but felt a chill. 1,000-year frost ice? Yi Qing Luo stretched out her hand in astonishment and stroked the stone block. Immediately, a cold aura that was comparable to a heart-piercing chill spread from her palm to her arm. The 1,000-year frost was a good item. It was a treasure that countless profound practitioners desired. It was said that as long as a profound practitioner cultivated on the 1,000-year frost, they would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. This was because the Millennium Frost was refined from the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Now that it was placed within the Azure Dew bracelet, the spiritual energy on the stone block was even denser and purer. He hadn't expected that Old Man Tsang would hoard quite a few good things and hide them in the Azure Dew bracelet. Yi Qing Luo sat upright and swallowed a marrow cleansing pill. The marrow cleansing pill melted in his mouth, and his mouth was instantly filled with a refreshing medicinal fragrance. The medicinal fragrance flowed down his throat and into his body, flowing into his meridians. The process was extremely painful. Yi Qing Luo couldn't hold it in for a few times as she let out a painful moan. In his tendons and veins, waves of medicinal fragrance kept colliding and pressing against each other. His entire body felt as if it had been torn apart and then reassembled. Ah, a sharp painful moan came out from Yi Qing Luo's mouth. There was a metallic taste in his throat. As soon as he heard the sound of cooking, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood was black, so black that it was purple. Then, a cold current spread from his buttocks to his limbs and bones. The painful squeezing sensation was no longer there. At this moment, Yi Qing Luo only felt carefree and incomparably refreshed. A majestic and terrifying profound qi erupted from Yi Qing Luo's body. That profound energy emitted a dazzling light, making the red-clothed woman on the stone block look even more enchanting than the sun and moon. The purification was a success, the blocked tendons and meridians were unblocked. A steady stream of profound energy spread through his limbs and bones. Master, taking advantage of this momentum, you can begin challenging the first level of the Azure Dew bracelet's mental cultivation method. Nanny? He was already challenging the first level of the mental cultivation method? Not waiting for Yi Qing Luo to regain her senses, that huge cauldron shook violently. Her footsteps were unsteady and her body bumped into something. In the next second, that thing that she had bumped into was like a suction cup, firmly sucking her in. Yi Qing Luo's eyes immediately went black. In a short moment, Yi Qing Luo opened her eyes again and discovered that she was actually standing on a battle stage. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.